Last minute switch. I've been joined by Louis 2K for this one. How's it going, buddy?
I'm all good, mate. How are you doing today?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Can't complain whatsoever. And what a game we've got going on here. MDL Relegation, winner of this best of three between Endpoint and Wisla Krakow will continue on into MDL for next season. And it's going to be Dust 2 straight away. So a nice early gambit. Three players from Endpoint going down. And a chance for a retake.
I'll be honest, I'm still connecting, so carry on without me for a sec.
Fair enough, no worries. So, Mighty Max in the pit, 4 players left to find, going for the defuse. He's already stopped one, but lots to find and does get the diffuser, but a split second too late as Bialy is able to pick that one up. And it is going to be Wisla taking the first round on CT side of Dust 2. Interesting to see Dust 2 in the mix, actually. I haven't watched it too much as far as competitive goes in recent times. Can get quite dull, unfortunately. A lot of holding around mid until about 45 seconds. But, hey, never mind. Best of 3, we'll see some more exciting maps coming in due course. Have a little look at the setup as well, but generally going to be one towards mid, one towards B. As we see Endpoint take that standard mid hold. Around about minute 30 left to go on the clock. Nade catches a couple of players early doors, but nothing too much for them to be concerned about, as there's a potential push coming in from CTs onto the short to apply pressure. Bialy helped with the flash, gets one, drops away, calling in the numbers.
Yeah, looking.
Oh, sorry, go for it.
I was going to say, looks as if Wisla have that one all in their favour. And you said obviously Dust 2 is our opening map. It's a map I saw Endpoint at least play 1 or 2 times earlier this season, and quite convincing results on it as well. This is their map pick, as you mentioned, in this best of 3. It's going to be, as you said, Dust 2. Dull it can be, but you know, Endpoint, they've played it enough throughout the season, throughout the tournaments of late. I reckon they've got a chance of really doing well. Wisla have at least got the advantage, and they've also got to go up against an AWP. Crucial, we'll have that one.
Yeah, Endpoint have got the players that can really do well on this. Thomas, I've seen a lot of Thomas dropping 30 bombs consistently in games, and if you frag heavy, especially on the T side, you can do some real damage. Crucial with the AWP, very useful, able to move about the map, and with Robin giving up the IGL route coming into this new lineup, it gives him the chance to frag as well. So it does set up quite nicely for them. And again, same thing, I've seen some pretty good success for them. And I guess a lot of teams will try and avoid Dust 2 or not play it as much. Mirage becoming one of the sort of go-to maps these days, while Dust 2 back in the day, everyone used to play it and know how to. Not so much these days as they set up for a play on to short, but are currently facing a wall of smoke. So Wisla just try to slow them down as much as they can, put the time pressure on when they do decide to hit a bomb site.
Yeah, there's plenty of utility still available to the Endpoint boys, at least. Thomas setting up a smoke, I believe, for CT. And they've still got the AWP on Crucial, so certainly damage is available to the Endpoint boys, who are still a 1-player down disadvantage kind of thing. A flash goes out, Thomas. Well, the flash is somewhat blinding everyone on the server, as now Thomas begins the ignition and the ignite onto the site. Gets 1, gets 2 brilliant headshots, and even the third, oh, it could have been. Point check just takes him out, but still, for the Endpoint boys, they've got up 1 plant. 3-on-3 retake for Wisla.
So it's going to delay and save their weapons, trying to pick up the exit. Down goes Crucial, and down goes the AWP, which they'll be looking to retrieve. Surreal going to try and defend that, finds one. Wiggle peek from the second man, he does pick up the frag with a scout. So no opportunity to retrieve the AWP. So he's tempted to go for it, does go for it. Picks up
yeah.
Wasn't expecting that.
No, that got really close there, but it shows that Wisla on these retakes can certainly give this a good chance and a good shout. And the advantage there for Endpoint was a bomb plant at least came in, The issue is, though, money isn't in the best state. They will force out a couple of AKs at least come out. Crucial will follow soon. And Max and Robin really have been well to just get that utility, I feel. Just still give this a shot. A bit of a default, but a little bit awkward. Morales just takes out Max. One player dealt with towards long. And a lot of that utility has already been wasted by Endpoint, so they've now got to focus on really the aim duels and looking as if they're setting up towards B.
Yeah, Ponchek doing some serious work spraying through the smoke, and that's such a useful area when you get a wall of smoke like that on CT side, where you can smash through. There's probably going to be someone behind that. You're at minimal risk aside from the bullet tracers, so why not have a little go? And I'm surprised that players don't do that a little more often, but it's worked out supremely well with 2 very early frags, and Wisla going to be looking to apply the pressure early.
Another smoke. Crucial, obviously, sending the bomb up towards short. Ponchek has almost found that kill. 6 HP. Robin still alive. Well, he was. That's a quick little triple picked up with the M4. And on short, Crucial allowed to do minimum. Wisla, a good start for them. All 5 kept alive as well. So really looking to build up the money. And Morales has certainly got enough of that in the opening stages crossing.
Yeah, that's going to be a nice thing to work with. Big problem you have, especially on CT side, is the economic pressure is so much worse than it is on T side. So even when you're winning rounds on a fairly regular basis on CT side, you can feel that pressure even if you get weapons dropped, and you really want a full complement of utility to slow down any potential pushes. They tend to come quite fast on Dust 2, so everything that you've got to slow down those pushes as much as you can is useful. And they'll be very happy to have at least one player sitting there with a nice big bankroll to work with. Should be able to get some drops in, and even if they lose a couple, should be able to keep a fairly decent complement of weapons to work with. Endpoint stacking up towards short again, but they've not really had much joy in getting in there. Managed to get a plant a couple of rounds ago, but I'd like to have a few more options from them. I would say work over towards B, but they got cut down in the smoke, so maybe not as the push now comes in.
Oh, really good nade comes in. Robin already down to 23 HP and slowly falling even more. Thomas already dealt with, and Endpoint just kind of walking into these rifles with little issues and little pressure on the CT side. Bialy gets a quick double. It leaves Robin with a scout with at least a headshot converted. 3 more to find, and 1 player at least tagged up. And a bomb plant, that would have been Endpoint's objective. They at least get that. They get the hash injection. Wisla looking to at least still do damage, and this should be a round which they pick up.
And Robin going down. Did get the tag, but not the frag. Problem you have with the scout, unfortunately, is that it will get you plenty of 70, 80 in one hit, but you've got to be on point with the face if you want to get kills with it, which is useful for racking up your assists, but not so much in that situation. Down he goes, and 5-0 is the big thing on the scoreboard right now. Endpoint need to get a few things going. AWP in the hands of Robin, and I think the AWP is potentially the weapon that can open up a few opportunities for you on this map on T side, and they need to get that warmed up pretty quickly.
For now, Ponchek will just smoke and nade off upper tunnels. Endpoint, it was looking as if they wanted to at least send some presence in that direction, but for now, Thomas will just back away in tunnels. Surreal will do quite little. Such a weapons, crucial. Just being aware in case someone's up close and mid. And Wisla just not really many problems on their CT side for now. Endpoint, this is their map pick, and they'll be looking to really pick up some rounds soon. 5-0 down, not the most ideal start. And going up against the double AWP setup. Well, damage in both directions, but mostly towards Thomas. Mighty Max and mid will look towards short with 3 of his teammates.
Double Molotov pushing them back as well. And it's really difficult to get anything going in this kind of situation. You can maybe try and work something long, but a good AWPer watching down long can really shut you down. And now the pressure comes in, the push from behind. Crucial able to find more as he makes his approach. which is nice, but not without losing a player in the interim as well. And it's a sign if you're getting caught from behind at long, you're just not moving as quickly as you would have liked. If the plan was to be sitting around on short as long as they were, they probably wouldn't worry too much about holding their flank, because it's a clean-up crew with the crossfire. Again, Endpoint gets stuck up on short and not really going to plan this so far.
It's not. Ponchek and Bialy just with little issues to find the kills, and really it was a lot of damage done in the build up to that, which kind of meant Endpoint were kind of stranded and stuck with getting really damaged as they wanted to push out. AK's back out, but still no AWPs out. That's something they'll be really looking towards. But a fast play and a switch up. There's Max with at least one, but a dink onto his teammate hasn't really helped him. Thomas does find Rails and finally some hope. Endpoint get a quick 2-man advantage towards A-Long.
See, this is the better play, though. If you get all AKs, etc., then you have to make a move on somewhere. You have to go on mass, get your flashbangs over. That can give you the opportunity to at least get out and give yourself a fighting chance against an AWP that's holding the angle. And immediately that's paid off. They've got a bit of control somewhere. Now it's how do they work from that? Will they have a player coming up short, get the pincer movement going? The key thing is not to get all trapped in the same position, which hasn't worked for them up to this point.
Molotov. They hear the AWP towards CT, at least one of them, two of them still available for the CT side, and Endpoint. This should be around which they are able to at least convert. This should be on which they're the victors in, and the Poles have just backed away. They don't want any say in this. They've realised that the two players lost towards A so quickly kind of cost them. And they didn't even want to risk the retake. Surreal could easily get one or two if they do get aggressive. But that's better from Endpoint. It's a more promising reaction. It was what they wanted. And while the two AWPs do stay alive for the CTs, Endpoint can now start to build up a couple rounds, 2-3. Start to build a momentum and money. There's sort of nothing to say that Endpoint are out of this yet.
Exactly that. If they can build themselves a bit of a bankroll, they can apply pressure to the finances of Wisla very quickly as they go forward into this. And then the two AWPs that they have saved, it does limit them a little bit in their flexibility when it comes to rotate. So maybe some kind of fake or some kind of fast play may give Endpoint the edge that they need. And maybe over towards B might not be the worst plan in the world to think about, but we'll see. Still sticking with a full set of rifles. So they won't be looking to engage some of these angles that the AWPs will be in. Get a Molotov this time, which is put out instantly, but just trying to slow down this push out into long. Won't able to get someone into pit for the CT side, but there is... Oh, they did. Okay, fair enough. I take it back. Good presence of mind to check the pit though. I've played a few games recently when third, fourth guy out along and it comes down to me to be checking pit. It's like, come on guys, there's a very real possibility that they can get there one flash. There's something you just have to be aware of.
Well, Orkshot does connect. Mino gets one and Spiro a second. Then again, it is a CT defense, which we've seen look strong all map so far. And that's just a push through the smoke by Bialy to at least gift him a kill back. It's a man disadvantage for Endpoint if they want to go for this. And Wisla aren't fully convinced it's an A play yet. The smoke, certainly a useful play, but Mino hasn't been spotted towards the back of the site. Thomas will convert and try and push forward, but in fact falls. The AWPer looks for a second Robin. He's waiting. He's trying to just bait and hope someone walks into his crosser, but it's not working cleanly. 56 HP and both AWPs up close. It's such a tough ask, and even Ponchek down in CT means this is a tough ask, and one of the AWPs will at least deliver. 7-1 up, Endpoint. It's a rough start.
Yeah, at least it's not the hard reset of a couple of updates ago. That would have been pretty brutal. But with how it pans out these days with the economy, they will be able to get a decent little buy together again. Got the AWP up for Crucial. As they've been struggling to get going. He's not the only one on the Endpoint side. As Minio able to pick up Thomas straight away towards the B site with the AWP. Nice sort of spot towards the back of B to be able to hold with that weapon. and he's used it to good effect already. And for a bit of a split, still Endpoint already deciding where they want to execute on early. We're back to short. We're back to the area that's yielded, I think, 1 bomb plant total so far in 8 rounds of Counter-Strike, but sticking with it.
Well, Endpoint do at least have this presence up towards short. Again, towards aim. It's been their preferred site of interest, at least. The B site. Been little access and little interest delivered, really, so far. Still 1 minute to play, but utility not fully disappeared yet. Robin and Crucial with the 2 smokes for CTN on top. A couple Molotovs for the site and CT as well. And while it forces Wisla at least out of positions, Mino towards long, he's still allowed to convert something with the York Ponchek. He's got a second Endpoint. They're running out of answers, and Robin finally delivers something back at least. The nade might be good for damage, but it won't deny the bomb plant crossing.
I need to do a bit more with it, and the AWP. And Crucial's got in his hand. 1-shot kill potential, but also you don't have a lot of flexibility. You think another day you would have connected with that shot, but nothing really working to plan, and they're able to swarm. And it's going to be 8-1 to Wisla, taking control of CT side. Can be done on Dust 2. I've seen teams properly lock it down on CT. And generally when that happens, it's out of pure patience, just waiting, absorbing the pressure. And that is exactly what is happening so far. Seems like the Endpoint guys just been caught a little cold, not really connecting with some of the shots that you would normally expect them to. But I suppose that's the beauty of a best of 3. You still have time to start hitting your shots and be able to put it together. But you would like to not have that early pressure on you as well.
Yeah, they will be feeling this pressure somewhat mentally as well, potentially. Mighty Max is somewhat tagged by a Molotov by Mino on short. A reflash, but Wisla aren't being too aggressive on it. They've seen enough times that Endpoint do like this short presence, but still no real change of pace. They haven't really had to change their setup really towards long. Spiro a little too aggressive. Hoping does some damage to him. Max just has to be careful. There's a CT player at the other side of the doors here in mid. And if Wisla make the right move at the right time, it could spell danger. Endpoint are at least being aware of it, but Morel's, I feel like he's a massive threat crossing.
Yeah, for sure. Finds one straight away. That 1-for-1 trade. That does work in Endpoint's favour, actually. You would rather lose a man on T side more than anything else, because you would normally be entering a site with the man advantage regardless, but that hasn't helped. A little bit of an aggro play up short with the AWP, and I think quite wise to drop away from that as soon as possible. It's not a high percentage area, but while you got a 7-round advantage on CT side Dust 2, it's worth having the odd little risk just to continue to apply pressure. As we'll probably see some success from there. So Sparrow, who's been quite quiet, manages to find one from down long. Up close and personal. Crucial able to find a fairly routine shot there up towards the ramp. Still 2 players left to find though. Completely blind. Perfect flash from Bialy as it helps his teammate get up onto the site, and then Bialy there to clean up. That's going to be another round to the poles.
I thought Thomas might have had a chance. I thought he was going to get some form of lineup, but he wasn't given it. And Wisla, again, they complete another retake towards the A side, this time in a one-on-one scenario. So Endpoint at least keeping the numbers of players somewhat level, but still just hasn't been enough to convert rounds. 8 rounds behind Wisla. They're a team who, well, in the Premier Division in MDL didn't really have the best season. This series essentially could be keeping them in this, or Endpoint, if they win this series, that would be them up to the MDL division. Crucial and front check for now. Trade out kills. It's a play towards B, and finally Endpoint have some chance. They split in from both CT and tunnels, and finally they've got an opportunity. A bomb plant is at least there. Flashes. That's all that remains for the offensive utility. Still an AWP and 2 M4s, Wisla. Don't count them out quite yet.
Yeah, seeing him come away with maybe some tougher retakes. And B's always difficult, but one flash can pretty much lock down any position. Max doing some good work, but he's now caught Loud's guy in under the window. That's Sparrow with 2. Crucial's position is known, but the timer ticking away. That's going to be another round on the board for Endpoint. Sparrow gets the frag just to add insult to injury, but nothing really to come of that. There's no way Surreal is going to escape with his weapon, and there's enough cash flying around. There should be a decent little buy of AKs across the board, unless they choose to drop a little bit to get some more utility. See, Max has done that, going with full utility and going for the Galil instead. He's going to be using those to maybe push them into the bomb site when they do decide to execute on somewhere.
I'm kind of amazed that Endpoint just haven't even used any timeouts up to this point. I mean, 12 rounds in at this stage, they've not once stopped to have a longer break just to try and work out what's been going wrong, but they have at least got a second round. That was damage which they didn't want. Crucial, tagged down to 16 HP, and that nade could finish him if it reaches, and it does, in fact. Mino on short finds a kill as Robin finally trades something out. Endpoint, they've needed these trades so much more, and while they've got one this time, they just don't have the weapon advantage. 2 AWPs again with the CT defense. It's been strong so far, Crossing.
Yeah, it has, although they haven't really been challenged all that much. It's coming away from missed shots and slow play, largely from the Endpoint side. And in both those situations, there are ways that you can manage it, but you're not under any real pressure. And I've seen some, and been in, plenty of sweaty exchanges round about A when you've got players pushing you along, you're worried about short because your short players got taken out, and then you're trying to sit below site and deal with everything. There's none of that really happening. It's all just slow walking, waiting for things to happen. We're now 30 seconds left to go on the clock, and Endpoint still haven't made their execute onto the bomb site again, which is going to be A. And there's still 2 players that can come in and rotate in. See Robin now going, he's applying the pressure out towards long. It's first to the punch there, but down he goes. And that's going to allow the push to come in. Ponchek spraying through the smoke towards Card, does a bit of light damage as well. That's going to be helpful.
Ooh. Almost a chance there that Thomas could have fallen, but he at least responds and recovers with the kill. The flash and the Molotov. Endpoint have at least read where this last 2 players are coming from, but that's perfect. Spiro just somehow finds Thomas in that narrow angle, a gap, and this has to be perfect by Mighty Max. One found and he spotted the AWP, dropped down to CT, the jumping AWP shot not going to connect, but the AK will, and Mighty Max has done wonders to keep Endpoint in this. They're up to 3, they can still push for 6 at the end of a half here, and honestly, if they have a 9-6 half scoreline, that's something that can really motivate them and push them on going into that CT second half, I think.
Yeah, for sure. 9-6 is something that you can definitely play with. If you end up allowing them to get to double figures, still possible, but you have to play pretty flawless Counter-Strike from that point. And there's not a lot that we've seen from the Endpoint guys to suggest that they are quite hitting that form just yet. But of course, we've got a long encounter and plenty still to get through in this match. Going back towards the mid area, all up for Crucial again. Wisla playing smart, not giving him too many opportunities. Now you can get the tag through the door early on from the cross, and then you may be able to get someone from that angle that he's watching right now if they decide to step. But they haven't really given him that opportunity. It's one of those high risk, high reward. If you go down there, B's exposed, and the mid to B is an option as well. One smoke into CT gives you a fairly clear route up there. But as the opportunity isn't presented, they go back to the short. Wall of smoke's probably going to come in.
That could have been awkward. Surreal does find Morales, and Endpoint do at least get that opening against these pistols. And Wisla, they could be expected to really do damage here. Mino allowed 1 kill back and allowed an AK, but on short, Crucial just delivered 1 back. Even if Wisla gain another weapon off of this. That wouldn't be the worst eco round in the world for them. Spiro running towards T-Spawn to see if he can find anything, but Endpoint have at least got a fourth in the bag. Comeback is certainly on now on their map pick. Wisla just somewhat switched off in the past few rounds, but in the opening stages, Poles have looked the more dominant, the more controlling. Four players which will stay alive as well for Endpoint. Well, three players in fact. Spiro gets at least one at the exit. And I was going to say actually Endpoint keep three players alive. And that can just help him as well build up this money and build up the bank. 2 more rounds left in this half. Can certainly push towards 6 crossing.
Yeah, every bit helps as far as economy goes, and if you can do some late game damage towards the last couple of rounds, you know, that can really turn the tide on what score you're able to wind up with. So 1-0 from Spiro. Out long. And out long seems to be the area where they've had the greatest success for me, Endpoint, as again there's 2 players that go down early doors. A couple of well-purchased weapons as well. A couple of the rifles as Monia are able to pick up 1 with a nice assist from Bialy through the smoke. Just spamming the potential angles that you can watch. I mean, why not? You're not going to lose out too much by trying.
Yeah, give it a shot. Endpoint still have the advantage, but they haven't entirely gained the A site yet. And there's 3 players almost towards this A site here for Endpoint to now have to go up against. Crucial's going to be important because he can then get rid of the AWP Spiro dealt with and maybe get a second. Morales can at least hold strong. But Endpoint, despite getting that A control, have just taken a while to really move on and look forward. And Wisla off of that assumed it was going to be some play towards B. There's the peak. Surreal gets 1 on top. Mino gets a second, but that's all he'll be allowed in the end of this one. Endpoint getting 5. And his comeback is on the cards as towards the last round of a half. Wisla's buy probably not going to be that amazing, in fact.
No, just feeling the pressure. They've still got the AWP. Buying up around to try and protect that. You know, some of those weapon choices, they're not the end of the world, actually. You've got an AWP at long. You probably want to put one of the SMGs, one of those MP9s up close. You can get a nice little tandem going on some of these angles. Spiro with the scout, going to be looking for headshots. Let's try to do enough damage as well. If you tag someone well with the scout, then they're one nice nade away when the push does decide to come in on a bomb site. So definitely a team play weapon more than anything else. So now looking towards mid to B. Thinking about it anyway. Should be able to swarm that scout and scaffold him.
The utility level is starting to run out now, so they've got to be careful with how Surreal just uses this last fashion nade. 2 players will be on the B site at least. Mighty Max up close. Him and Crucial at least delivering the kills to ensure B site is theirs, but still an AWP here and an AWP towards CT. Robin's aware of this. He's got 1, but the AWP is allowed to deliver something back, and it is that AWP left to find 4 more. Endpoint should be here for 6. And the AK takes care of Mino.
Started to get together a bit more than Endpoint in that towards the end of that first half. Hitting their shots better for a start, which is always helpful. But second of all, more aggression out towards long. Making plays on these positions and just applying more pressure that they weren't getting by being super slow and super passive. I think you need to have multiple gears that you can move through. You know, sometimes the slow play will work to perfection, but it's not going to beat every team out there.
No, I do agree with you. When Endpoint started pushing out of A long doors with these more explosive and dangerous plays, they kind of caught Wisla off guard, and that was where they started getting those player number advantages. They started getting accesses to the sites a lot more, so I respect the short plays. They've worked and helped Endpoint in the past, but Wisla, they seem to be that little bit of a step up, and they had to change their mindset and essentially their approach to the map, and it's a good thing they've responded with at least 6, because It was a good 7-8 rounds down. They weren't looking too comfortable.
No, not at all. And I mean, that is the perfect situation for me on a CT side and Dust 2. End up playing a lot in groups with randoms, which is always a problem. But if you've got a proper setup and everyone is on the same page, holds their angles and is patient, and you just wait and absorb the pressure, call the rotates properly, then that's dream situation for you. It's when they start to put pressure, get picks, open up angles, that's when the real difference comes in. Will Wisla start on the front foot? I think that might be the approach from them. And if they're able to do that, then potentially they will be able to get the number of rounds that they need. Good to see Endpoint, though, starting to get some rounds on the board as one player from Wisla gets shot in the back by his own teammate. They now drop and get the boost. So this is going to be called in early. May see a rotate potentially as Robin tries to tap away. 3 players to find.
They were looking as if they wanted to back away out of A long at this point. Wisla are sending 2 players back and the bomb will follow suit. Maybe looking back towards mid, maybe towards short. I mean, Ponchek will have the tunnels control as well. Endpoint not being too aggressive, and it's really around they've got to win. Shots are being sent in towards mid. Mino very low on HP now. But it's going to be that opening duel, which is going to be so vital. Surreal at least picks off one, but gets dinked in the process. It's awkward. It feels like a messy pistol round, but Wisla are waiting for a kill back, and Robin's just going to draw a lot more pressure. As Spiro finds A long is clear.
And bomb down in mid. I think that's got called on the radar, but that's now picked up as Surreal able to find Minio up towards the other side. Ponchek gets 2 in quick succession, though. They try and push through the mid to B and to secure the bomb, and now 2 HP and a dream. I don't think he's got many bullets left in this pistol either. 16 to play with, 2 players to find, 20 seconds left to go on the clock, and I think Surreal might have got to cover just in time. Oh!
Yeah, that was going to happen. Surreal was 2 HP throughout that. That's so unfortunate at Endpoint. Even though they find the opening kill, they just can't make it work out in their favour. And that's a vital pistol round for Wisla to pick up. 2 AKs instantly in the second round. And Endpoint, rightly so, they're going to force around that. There was no bump on in there for Wisla, so their money isn't on point. Play towards A long yet again could be the answer. Surreal will peek and clear suicide and middle for now, but he heard their footsteps. The Mac 10 in tunnel was getting tagged. At least a bit of damage advantage goes towards Endpoint.
Yeah, that will be a start. That's something that you can definitely work from. I'm assuming the new update and the new Deagle is in effect. Haven't noticed a huge amount of difference myself, to be honest, and what a shot that is. Surreal, blind through the smoke, but able to find one. Again, sticking with the mantra of, yeah, let's have a go. Let's just fire off a few shots, see what happens. As Minio coming in from behind now from long. This could be useful if they time this properly. Or smoking to crossover, maybe just allowing him the chance to get up onto site. Instead, watches behind, and what a shot that is.
Ponchek does well to get both of them. In fact, Mighty Max, the man left, and this force buy really hasn't helped Endpoint whatsoever. Only 2 players lost for the Poles as they march on to 11 on not even their map pick. Let's point out, Endpoint, they decided to go for Dust 2. You said they hadn't played it that much. I felt quite confident that I'd seen enough of Endpoint on this map to really see what they could provide, but it's a bit of a struggle so far. Nuke will be at least following us. And I'm not entirely sure what Endpoint are like on that map.
Pretty good from what I've seen. But, again, limited. It's not one of the often played maps as such in the rotation, but it is one that you have to be prepared on. You will face some as Mighty Max gets 1. Traded out straight away, though, from that position, and 1 frag is pretty much the best that you can expect as players turn and react to the shots and from the calls of their teammate. 4v3 again, so Endpoint could bring this thing home. Could be a tough retake, though. 0 utility, so they're going to have to just step at the right times and try and catch players off guard. You know, all of the angles into the bomb site, the door, the window, and the tons can be covered by these players as Robin goes in for the window first off. And well, there goes the tunnel players.
Endpoint really could have just pushed this together, even from CT and doors, just not having any effect at all. Robin's at least found one on the exit, but there's no kits. It's Wisla at least onto 12 rounds. And 2 AKs will be saved. Crucial only has a Mac 10. Time running out as Wisla now only need 4 to take that one. Endpoint do at least have money. The AWP, M4s, and that'll be the buyout.
It's almost the same again, though, isn't it? But from the other side around, like CT side, it sounds obvious, but you've got to go and get that bomb and defuse it. So they will quite happily just go and sit back. Not playing against randoms when someone's going to go and YOLO out the site and try and go for glory. Very disciplined and solid performance so far.
I was a little bit confused about Menino's flash, but either way though, a peek in towards mid. Wisla again poised to really look towards beam, but I'm just waiting in mid, and both sides have at least been available to them in the past. For now though, a Molotov in mid door, Surreal, just to try and delay any push through. Wisla just holding, they're just waiting to see what Endpoint really give up or give them in terms of utility or any kills. But nothing spotted yet. If you're Endpoint at this point, you're hungry for this first kill. You want to ensure you'll have it. You look at the utility levels left. If they've got to play a retake, they're going to be trapped. So the aim doors, again, hugely vital if Endpoint want to stay in this. Go with this fake utility. The bomb is heading towards B.
So I'm getting lit up through the smoke. Max finds one, and now they go for the bit of extra aggression. I like that as they get pushed out, and then both of them step in at the same time, dealing with the last 2 players in from tunnels. That's a bit more like it.
That felt like it came from nowhere for Endpoint, but credit, that was needed. That's a brilliant way just to respond with it. Wisla will again have the money to play with an AWP back out, but pistols for a few of them means this is far from an ideal buyout for the Poles at all. And you've got to be focusing that this AWP and this AK do get the kills. For Endpoint, at least the M4s and 1 AK again. They have got a chance to really build on, and for now Max alone towards beam. Surreal just goes back to rejoin him. And they, well, not massively effective. Could really force a lot more damage against Spiro. We'll take it. Wisla again, focused efforts towards short. Galil to be the entry point. And Endpoint again, around which they've got to find these kills fast, I think.
A little bit of trouble from Minio there, or under pressure, sorry, from the Molotov. Taken down to about half HP. Nice little crossfire set up on the mid to B. Robin spotted the 3rd man, who now falls away. Crucial. Finds Sparrow. So with the AWP over towards short. Wisla going a little bit one at a timing. Just made it quite easy to deal with it. Minio missing not by much from the player through the smoke.
Max actually pushes for that. That's a great headshot as well delivered, but Menino only gets 1 before falling. Endpoint do find 8. Now they're starting to build up the momentum and build up these rounds. This is a good response, and this should be 9 unless Wisla somehow put off what could be a miracle play if they're down to pistols. They shouldn't force this at all, I don't think.
Quite like the controlled aggression from B pushing to the outside. Often you'll see a player go for it, peek out of the window, and it's just them looking at a guy who's making a move or already got their iron sights or their scope pointing at the window, and it's a risky play. But the 2 times they've done it in recent rounds, it's been from added pressure, someone from CT or someone from doors pushing at the same time. And you can get away with that. A couple of really tidy shots from Crucial, one towards top of mid, and then one dealing with the mid to B guy, absorbing the pressure from close quarters. Thomas finds 2 up towards short as well. And Wisla just getting caught on the back foot, I think, in pretty much every exchange. And what a turnaround we've seen from the first half.
They're delivering a lot more comfortably. Thomas finds the last one. Endpoint up to 9 now. And the gap now becomes 3 rounds. Wisla, they could purchase out, but it wouldn't necessarily include an AWP. So I maybe expect them to buy out AKs. A couple Mac 10s at least do follow suit, just to ensure they can get utility, and they've got a huge chunky utility. Maybe a play towards B is a different response and a different approach, and don't quite count the poles out yet. Three towards long for the CT side. Endpoint for now. Won't quite be taking the damage, but Mighty Max does take damage. He falls after finding an opening. Surreal, this is better from him. He'll line up a quick triple kill, gets the bomb drops as well, and leaves a Mac 10 in a dire scenario. Well done to Surreal.
Some more one at a time from the poles, coming out one at a time from the bomb site. They had the crossfire set up, 1-for-1 trade happened. Then Surreal was able to just hold the tight angle, bring them around the corner, and then grab those frags as well. So really nice work, and that was decent spend as well. So again, down to economic pressure, upgraded pistols, maybe an SMG is all we're going to see out of Wisla, and Endpoint could be looking at 12-12 if they win this and the next. Broken the economy again. That'll be the time for them to hammer this home.
Oh, perfect shot by Spearham. You mentioned earlier how the Deagle got nerfed earlier in the week. A recent update. An update which allowed Deagle headshot or jumping Deagle shots to be perfect for some reason, but lots of people been confused and criticising it. For now though, the Deagle could certainly prove a bit more damaging. Perfect shot onto Thomas. Endpoint need to be careful now that they don't start to make mistakes. Spiro obviously gaining an AWP. Bomb on. That would have been the pole's objective. They've at least achieved that, but they've still got a chance with winning the round crossing.
They do, and all set up. Playing it well, absorbing the pressure, and then Crucial goes and pushes mid against 3 players to look into lower. And the retake could still happen, but that AWP is going to make it very difficult. Actually, maybe not from a short plant. As they go for the boost, Robin looks over the top. Doesn't see anything. Still doesn't see anything, despite the guy on site. Now this is a tough hold.
That probably wasn't in the script for Endpoint's point of view. We were expecting it to become sort of a 12-12 scoreline, but Wisla respond on what was a force bite, and that's a little bit awkward for the Endpoint boys. They've at least got money to respond, and unless they pick up this round here, I'm starting to maybe lose hope in Dust 2 at least.
And completely avoidable as well. At no point should stepping out CT side through mid doors seem like a good idea. Because you're either going to catch a bunch of nades, or you're going to have someone holding short, or you're going to have an AWP either at barrels or up towards suicide or into spawn or a scout or something that can do some serious damage to you. Or you might have a guy in lower or enter any combination of this. It's just not a smart play at any stage unless you're on a pistol eco or something.
Endpoint have at least got the early advantage here by LA, dealt with by Max. Spiro. Morales at least look towards short. The bomb heading in that direction also. Means Endpoint could be in for a little bit of pressure if they're not prepared for it on the A side. Robin just rotates back towards B. And Max just prepares to send a flash out. I assume they're going to peek off of this. And it would have to be a perfect peek if they do. But Wisla, in fact, second guessing it. Just backing off on short. It's again going to be a late call from them what they do. Certainly towards A. That's going to be confirmed. But this last smoke is their last point of contact really of giving them cover. They'll have to push. They'll have a flash and some Molotovs to follow. Endpoint already finding an opening. Need to get a second now. build here. Wisla. At least get the bomb down right at the end. That could have been close to real. A 1-on-2 if he's up for it now, but the York peaks at just the right time. Means Wisla make it to 14. Endpoint. Now money's a little bit mixed up, but I think they can just about buy this.
Perfect execution from the short push. One player drops off a site early doors. Gives them a lot of flexibility in terms of dealing with anyone trying to get fast up towards ramp. And on point with their shots up towards short as well. Very well executed. Israel maybe thinking about, yes, they're going to try and get some control of tons early. Just rule out areas of the map and then try and get in from behind. 1-for-1 trade outside of tons maybe. Israel needs to pick this up.
It's risky for him to even peek that as well. He's gone back towards lower tunnels at this stage here where Wisla still have this mid presence, but this is different from Endpoint. You know, 3 players at least towards short, the A site, CT as well. And it should be a good little setup really for them to work with if they can get a kill back. I really feel Endpoint are going to struggle unless they find something rather quickly. And while some Molotovs and smokes are just traded out, Wisla slowly creep their way up towards long. That's nade, or that site, a nade, which is an opening bit of damage. The poles certainly looking towards A now. Oh no.
Just too easy. And these are situations that are being created by Wisla that Endpoint weren't really able to produce by the way that they approached A for the most part. Sitting back, being passive. No, this could work out well. Endpoint's taken all of the players out as the last man makes a run towards the bomb. She's going to get a plant down on. Israel going to try and wait out the timer. No such luck. Half a thought that maybe he's hightailed it towards B. That's not the case. But up against Yorp, he's going to have to wiggle peek this.
Oh no. Spiro just allowed to win it out up to 21 kills. Map point to Wisla picked up an Endpoint. They had a good response at least at the start of the half, but it's all kind of fallen apart. Forced by Wisla essentially helped them push this momentum forward. Endpoint, if they can get 5, they can look towards overtime, but that's not going to guarantee map pick. And you wonder, have they already started considering map 2 nuke?
That's probably not a bad call as straight away one player goes down. They try and get the tons pressure. 1-for-1 trade, but that only favours Wisla. Cyril making a stack loads of noise, jumping up, misses the guy behind him. And that was a pretty quick pick